listen, you're about to go off to Bears training camp. And Caleb Williams is the first overall pick and the golden child of the Chicago Bears, and obviously he's got a significant following. Although I don't believe it's like Caitlin Clark's following. You're right. I mean, Caitlin Clark's got a following coast to coast, international, and a level of interest on her that surpasses, in my estimation, the first overall pick of an NFL draft. And if we don't think sitting here week one against the Tennessee Titans, Jeffrey Simmons isn't going to raise his hand and saying, I will deliver the welcome to the NFL moment to Caleb Williams, then we should have our NFL card revoked. Anybody on the Houston Texans the next week, and then the Indianapolis Colts, and so on and so forth. We've seen this in so many leagues. I guess the question I have for you is, have I missed something? Has Caitlin Clark brought this on with her behavior? Because you were there in Toronto when they announced a new franchise, and a lot of people are ascribing that and the commercial flights going away and charter flights arriving to her arrival. Is there anything that I'm missing that players are seeing from Caitlin Clark that says we're going to show her, outside of just being a heralded rookie, maybe the most in the history, certainly this century of the W?
Yeah, well, when you say we're going to show her, that's what I'm referring to. Like, we belong here too.
Right.
And so here's what's going to happen. The chain reaction, if you don't know, like, let's just pick a name, Kelsey Plum. For all these new viewers that have jumped on the bandwagon, if you are starting to really watch the league like you do your favorite team in whatever sports professional realm that is, on the men's side, you probably will fall in love with a Kelsey Plum. She's phenomenal. Or Nafisa Collier, or you want to watch the Sky play right now. They're playing New York with Sabrina Ionescu and Courtney Vandersloot, and two players that handle the ball as well as anybody I've seen, and not to mention Brianna Stewart. Like, so you're going to start, okay, well, that's my favorite player. Clark's really good, but now I respect this player. That's how you broaden the scope. But again, the WNBA, Rich, has had to adjust to this wave for the last now couple years, and Caitlin Clark has just pushed it over the top of these name, image, and likeness collegiate players. How much fun was it to watch the women's tournament, right? That have come onto the stage now, and they've already got personalities. So now, as a franchise, you have to manage that. They're going to have to bolster their PR staffs. And I'll tell you this. You talk about Caleb Williams and the Bears. So just little tiny details, right? So one thing the Bears are doing right now is it's probably going to be Ryan Bates, his starting center. Rich, you know how important the center position is.
Yeah.
Ask Patrick Mahomes how much he loves Creed Humphrey, right? Coleman Shelton is actually getting reps with Ryan Bates. Bates will probably be the starter. But right now what the Bears are doing is saying, hey, we want to make sure he knows how to hand the ball off to our number one overall pick, he's transcendent. He's going to be, we expect him to be, so that he's really comfortable. Oh, and by the way, Caleb Williams right now is doing something really good. He's delving into the community in Chicago, Rich. We're seeing him at bars. We're seeing him at Cubs games. And he's also building very fond relationships inside of Hallis Hall, so that when he takes the field, as you alluded to, against Mr. Simmons, against the Tennessee Titans, by the way, they don't have a divisional game until week 11. That is insane. And it happens to be the Packers. It happens to be the Packers. They got to get so tight, Rich, that when they take the field in September in week 1, every one of those men is going to bat for that quarterback. And I have learned this over the years, now entering 16 seasons covering the NFL, that the relationship with the quarterback and his offensive line, it's so important that, I'll just say, when Olu Fashanu got traded to your Jet, or got drafted by your Jets, guess who was the first one to say welcome to the team on Twitter/X? Aaron Rodgers, right? Retweeting welcome to the squad, young man, like whatever he said. But that relationship's got to be great, Rich, right? And as a Jets guy, I mean, so my point for Caitlin Clark is, we're dealing right now with 12 teams, I think, in the league. We're going to go to 14. Golden State and Toronto are the next two. And that group has to get so tight, and it's so hard to do it. We saw Caitlin Clark in the national championship game 2 months later, or not even, She's an Indiana Fever. She's got to join a team in a league with, what is it? Correct me if I'm wrong, 144 players. If I'm off a couple numbers, I apologize. This is a very small pool of players. They have to develop chemistry in a very short amount of time. And they've had to adjust in Indiana with their head coach, Christy Sides, and this whole group as to how do we learn how to do this with her, right? And it's a young team. So people want to say, where were her teammates? Well, Leah Boston was right there, came and scooped her up. But really, those relationships have to build off the field to where you are so tight, which is really hard to do in the WNBA early, because I've been a part of it. I was a part of a brand new franchise, in fact, in Chicago. And it's different than college, where Caitlin Clark played 4 years with the same coach, the same system, and the same players, essentially. So it is an adjustment period for them. And it's an adjustment period, really, I think, for Caitlin Clark as she deals with this. The physicality is going to be there. It is a brutally physical game. It is so competitive in the WNBA because, as I mentioned, there aren't many teams and there aren't many players. And if you make a roster, you're pretty damn sure that I want to stay on that roster. So I'm going to put my best foot forward in every single dimension. And so you're going to see this respect for Caitlin Clark that is ensuing. Right now, she's, I think, 18th in the league in scoring. So look at all those players, above her. By the way, one of those players, Rich, it's 41-year-old Diana Taurasi, who a couple nights ago put up 31 for Phoenix against the Sparks. And she, to me, is probably the best player that I've ever played against. So she's 41 years old. So
you're aging all of us, huh, Stacey? Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.